Signal in the storm deep in space where no planets spin and no sun shines. There was a place called the Crimson Nebula. Pilots called it the Storm of Ghosts. Inside, ships would vanish. Some said the nebula ate them. Others said something inside hunted them. Space was quiet. Until now. A strange signal echoed from inside the Crimson Nebula. Short, broken, and full of static. "Vessel, danger, please, help, lost." The message was weak but clear. Enough. It was a royal code, the kind only used by the most important people in the galaxy. The message was from a royal vessel, the Seraph Queen, carrying someone from the galactic crown. The ship had been missing for 2 weeks. Most believed it was destroyed, but now, this signal changed everything. No one wanted to go. The Crimson Nebula was too dangerous. The last rescue ship sent there never came back. The fleet commanders met in secret. They needed someone crazy enough or brave enough to try. "We need Jack Wren," one of them said. The room went silent. Jack Wren, a human pilot, once a star hero, now a shadow of his past. He sat alone in a dusty spaceport, bar on a mining moon, nursing a warm drink. His ship, the Iron Truth, sat in the hangar, old, scratched, but still alive, just like him. A uniformed officer walked in and placed a data card on the table. "We have a job, one you're good at, or were." Jack didn't look up. "I don't do rescue anymore. This isn't just a rescue, it's royalty. They're offering a full pardon and a clean record." Jack looked at the card. A map of the Crimson Nebula blinked on it. Then the signal played again. "Please, help." Something in the voice caught Jack's attention. It was calm, soft, but scared. He couldn't place it, but it felt familiar. He stood up slowly. "I'll need fuel and answers." The Iron Truth powered up, its engines groaning like an old beast waking up. The ship had seen war, smuggling runs and black holes, but now it was flying into something worse, the unknown. Jack flew alone. No co-pilot, just his old AI system named Mira, a voice he programmed himself. "Are you sure about this?" Mira asked as the crimson mist began to swirl outside the windows. "No," Jack replied, "but I can't ignore that voice." They crossed the first line of the nebula. The stars outside faded. The light became red and twisted. Sensors started to fail. Jack had to fly by hand. "Signal getting stronger," Mira said. "Direction, 5 degrees left." He turned, eyes focused. Static filled the screen. Flashes of something, like shadows, moved outside. Shapes too big to be real, or maybe just tricks of the nebula. "Keep recording," Jack said. "If we don't make it back, someone needs to know what happened." A moment later, they found it. A floating royal beacon, spinning slowly in the storm. Its lights were dim. Part of it was broken. Jack brought the ship close and pulled it in with the magnetic arm. As it clunked into the hold, Mira scanned it. "This beacon is from the Seraph Queen, launched only days ago. Something's wrong. It shouldn't be this far from the main ship." Jack opened the beacon. Inside was a small data chip and a broken hollow recorder. He played the message. A flickering image appeared. A young woman, in royal blue, spoke. "This is Princess Alira. Our ship is under attack, not from outside, but from inside. We were betrayed. I repeat, The message cut off. Jack leaned back, eyes wide. "The royal ship didn't crash," he said quietly. "Someone made sure it wouldn't leave." Before he could say more, alarms blared. "Unknown object approaching fast." "Mira," shouted. Jack turned the ship's nose toward the screen. In the red mist, something was moving. Fast, large, silent. A dark shape, almost like a ship, but no lights, no signal, just a shadow sliding through the nebula. "Mira, engines now," Jack yelled. They sped away, the beacon still in the hold. Jack's heart pounded. Someone or something was watching, and it wasn't friendly. As they escaped, the signal from the beacon started again. This time it was clearer. "Jack Wren." If you're hearing this, they're coming. Don't trust. Static again. Jack stared into the red mist. What the hell is going on? He whispered. A pilot with a past Jack Wren wasn't supposed to fly again. 5 years ago, he had led the biggest mission of his life, a battle that could have saved 1,000 lives. But he failed. Or at least that's what they said. They called him reckless, dangerous, broken. His badge was taken. His record was sealed. And he disappeared into the shadows of forgotten stations and silent spaceports. But now, here he was, alone again, inside his old ship Iron Truth, holding a royal beacon with the voice of a missing princess and a warning that chilled his bones. And don't trust them. They're coming. Jack stared at the broken hologram, her face frozen in fear. Something about her eyes. He had seen those eyes before. Or maybe he just wanted to believe that. Mira, the AI, spoke in her calm voice. We need to leave this sector. Something's following us. It's not safe. Safe? Jack laughed coldly. We're inside a death cloud. Nothing here is safe. Outside, the crimson nebula boiled like blood in water. Red lightning flashed across the stars. And deep within, something moved. Too fast for sensors. Too quiet for a machine. Jack shut off the beacon and locked it in his private vault. He needed answers. He set course for Outpost 9, an old station on the edge of the nebula. Abandoned, off-grid, and full of secrets. Jack had been there before. Not as a pilot, but as a soldier. And he knew who still lived there. You're going back to her? Mira asked. She owes me, Jack said. The station appeared like a skeleton in space. Dark, broken, floating. Jack docked quietly and stepped out with his gun ready. The air smelled like oil and rust. Lights flickered. Rats, metal ones, crawled along the walls. Then he heard a voice. I thought you were dead. Jack turned. A tall woman with cybernetic eyes stood there, arms crossed. Captain Varen, ex-intelligence officer. Once his friend. Maybe more. Now a ghost from his past. I got better, Jack said. I need intel. And I need a reason not to shoot you for showing up here. Jack tossed her the data chip. A royal ship is missing. I have the beacon. And a message from Princess Alira. Varen's eyes widened. She plugged the chip into a hidden terminal. The message played again. Her face turned pale. They told us she died. Ship destroyed. No survivors. Jack shook his head. She's alive. She said someone betrayed them from inside. And now something's out there. Something watching. Varen leaned close. Do you know who the princess is, Jack? Just that she's royalty. Varen looked down. She's more than that. She's the last blood heir to the galactic throne. Jack froze. You mean, if she dies, there's no one left to rule, and a dozen powers are waiting to take control. If she's alive, they'll do anything to stop her from returning. Jack felt his chest tighten. The signal wasn't just a distress call, it was a threat to an empire. I need to find her, he said. Do you have the old fleet maps? The ones before they blocked this zone? Varen nodded. You're walking into a trap, Jack. The people who left her behind, they were never enemies. They were her protectors. And they turned. Jack returned. To the Iron Truth, his mind racing. He looked at the stars, but they offered no comfort, just more silence. Then, an alert. Incoming message. No source. Encrypted. Mira decoded it. The voice was rough, male, urgent. Jack Wren. You don't know me, but I saw your ship in the mist. If you want the truth, follow the black trail. Look, for the wreck of Vanguard 6, hurry before they find you. Jack's hands gripped the controls. He turned toward the nebula once more. You're not seriously going back in, Mira warned. I have to. She's still alive. This isn't like before, Jack. This time, you might not come back. Jack smiled faintly. That's what they said last time. He fired the engines and the Iron Truth vanished into the red storm again. Behind him, Outpost 9 went dark. Power drained. Lights died. Something had followed him there. And now, it was hunting. The Royal Mystery Space wasn't supposed to be quiet. But inside the Crimson Nebula, silence was different. It wasn't peace. It was warning. Jack Wren sat in the dark cockpit of his ship. Iron Truth, watching red fog twist like smoke outside the windows. Lightning flickered in the distance, silent but angry. Behind him, the beacon from the lost royal vessel kept repeating its broken cry for help. Don't trust them. Someone betrayed us. Please, find me. Princess, Alira's voice echoed again. Jack leaned forward, jaw tight. Someone betrayed her. Not pirates, not aliens, her own people. Mira, the ship's AI, broke the silence. Jack, we're being followed. Jack didn't move. How close? Too close. 30 seconds until contact. Shut off all external lights. Go silent. Let them pass. He cut the engines. The ship drifted. In the red storm, something slid past. A massive shadow with no clear shape. It didn't ping the sensors. No signal. No light. Just presence. Jack held his breath. Even machines could feel fear, and this thing, whatever it was hunting. After a full minute, the shadow vanished into the mist. We need to move, Jack said. Bring up the last transmission, the one from Outpost 9. Mira played it. Find the wreck of Vanguard. That's where it started. Jack entered the coordinates manually. Old ones, scrubbed from the official maps. Only someone who had been in the war would know. Setting course, Mira confirmed. As the ship moved through the storm, Jack thought back to his past. He had fought in battles most people never read about. Secret wars, quiet assassinations, cover-ups so deep even the generals forgot. But this was bigger. Hours later, through shifting clouds of plasma and gravity rips, they found it. Vanguard's 6.8 war-class cruiser, now broken and dead. It drifted like a corpse, its hull torn, open, its name barely visible. Jack stared. This ship disappeared 3 years ago. Logs say it exploded near Saturn Ring 9, Mira said. Then why is it here? Jack whispered. He docked carefully, pulling out his old exosuit. Air was gone. Systems dead. But something inside called to him. The corridor lights flickered, weakly as he walked. Jack's boots echoed on the metal floor. Everything was silent. Too silent. Then he found it. A locked door marked Royal Transport Bay. He hacked it. Inside were sealed crates, burned walls, and blood. Dry, old, but human. In the middle of the room, a cryopod. Damaged. Empty. Jack knelt beside it, wiped the frost-covered label. Passenger, Alira Vina Korosti. Princess had been here. But why? Sudden bang echoed from the corridor. Jack spun, gun raised. Nothing. Then, footsteps. Slow, soft, wrong. He backed toward the pod. Mira, someone's on this ship. No life signs detected. Then why do I hear footsteps? The air chilled. Jack's breath fogged inside his helmet. A voice spoke behind him. You shouldn't have come here. Jack turned. A man stood in the shadows, dressed in old royal armor, face covered by a cracked helmet, a mark on his chest, Imperial Guard Elite. Jack aimed his weapon. Who are you? The man didn't answer. Instead, he walked slowly toward the cryopod. She was never supposed to leave this ship, the man said. You were one of her guards, Jack guessed. I was her executioner. The man moved fast. Too fast. Jack barely dodged the first strike. The sword cut through the wall like butter. A fight broke out in the narrow hall. Jack fired. The bullets barely slowed the armored guard. Mira, open the airlock, Jack shouted. The ship groaned. Pressure dropped. Wind howled. The guard grabbed Jack by the suit and threw him into a crate. Pain exploded in his side. You can't stop this, the man said. She knew too much. Jack reached for a flare from his belt, slammed it against the crate. Bright light filled the room. Blinding red. The guard screamed and fell back. Jack crawled to the hatch and hit the emergency exit. Air rushed out. Jack flew back to his ship, hitting the dock hard. Inside, Mira sealed the doors. Injuries detected. You have broken ribs. Jack spat blood. Put it on the list. He pulled the crate data chip he stole from the wreck and slotted it in. The screen lit up. Security footage. Princess Elira. Younger. Scared. Hiding in the pod. Whispering to a small recorder. They're planning something. Not just war. They want to erase history. And if you're hearing this, you're already part of it. The screen cut to black. Jack leaned back, breathing hard. The guard. The betrayal. The missing royal ship. He had stepped into something far bigger than a rescue. This wasn't just about saving a princess, this was about saving the truth, and the truth was dangerous. Into the red cloud, the nebula was alive. Jack Wren didn't believe in ghosts, not before. But now, as his ship moved deeper into the crimson mist, he wasn't sure what to believe anymore. The walls of red gas pressed in from every side. Scanners failed, sensors glitched. Time felt slower, or maybe it was speeding up. Jack didn't know anymore. All he knew was, every second inside this place felt wrong. His hands gripped the flight stick. Blood still dried on his jacket. His ribs ached from the fight aboard Vanguard 6. And his mind kept returning to one thought. The princess had been silenced. Not by enemies, but by her own protectors. Mira, he said, his voice low. What's the shortest path to the last known location of the Seraph Queen? The AI answered calmly. No clear path. Nebula interference is rising. Navigation systems will soon become useless. Jack sighed. Then we fly blind. Outside, red lightning danced again. But it wasn't random. It was forming patterns. Half an hour passed. Jack hadn't blinked in minutes. The same static sound repeated in the background like breathing or whispering. Suddenly, a blip appeared on the screen. Not a ship, not a star. A structure. Jack leaned forward. Zoom in. A massive station stood inside the mist. Broken. Ancient. Not on any chart. Not human-made. It looked like a twisted cathedral built from black stone and metal. Tall spires reached upward like claws. Glowing lines pulsed across its surface like veins. This isn't from our galaxy, Mira whispered, almost human for a moment. What the hell is this place? Jack muttered. He approached slowly. As he drew near, his ship's power dimmed. Systems flickered. And then, the voices began. Not out loud. Inside his head. You don't belong here. Turn back. This is not your war. Jack clutched his skull. It felt like knives inside his brain. The ship shook. But then, another voice broke through. Clear. Familiar. Human. Jack. Help me. His eyes snapped open. Princess Elira. She's in there, Jack said. Signal confirmed, Mira replied. Trapped deep inside the structure. Faint life signs. He landed his ship on a broken platform. The moment he stepped out in his suit, the whispering stopped. Silence. Complete silence. Only the sound of his own breathing. He moved through the dark halls of the alien station, light from his helmet flickering on old walls. Carvings lined the metal, images of stars, falling empires, machines bowing to human shapes. What is this place? He whispered. And then, at the center, he found a chamber. Floating in a stasis field was a person, a young woman, pale, bruised, but alive. Princess Elira. Her eyes opened slowly. Fear and relief flickered together. Jack Wren, she said weakly. You really came. He moved closer. How did you get here? What is this place? She looked past him. A prison, built by something older than your people or mine. My guards thought they could use it, control it, they failed. Jack touched the controls on the field. I'm getting you out of here. But before he could finish, the walls shifted. A figure stepped into the chamber. Tall, armored in black metal. Not human, not machine. Jack raised his weapon. Stay back. The figure's voice was low and calm. She carries more than blood. She carries memory. She is not supposed to return. Jack fired. The bullets froze mid-air, then dropped to the floor. Great, he muttered. Another unbeatable guardian. Jack, Alira said, don't fight it. Outsmart it. Jack scanned the room, noticed the pattern of lights behind the alien. A control panel. 4 symbols blinking. He remembered the carvings from earlier. Those symbols matched constellations. Human constellations. He ran, dodged a blast of energy, slid behind the panel and started punching commands. The station shook. The stasis field dropped. Alira fell. He caught her. The alien lunged. But Jack smashed the final switch. The room exploded in white light. Energy surged. Jack pulled Alira into his arms and ran through collapsing walls. Behind them, the Guardian screamed. The building began folding in on itself. They reached Iron Truth just as the landing platform cracked in two. The ship blasted off, systems screaming. Inside, Jack laid Alira down on the medbed. She grabbed his hand. They're not done, Jack. This was just one layer. There's a fleet coming, and the man who ordered my death, he's still out there. Jack stared at her. Who? She whispered. Lord Tyrus, head of the High Council, and he's no longer human. Jack turned to the stars. Outside. They had survived the red cloud. But now a greater storm was coming. Ghost ships and truths. The Nebula was behind them now, but the shadows came with them. Jack Wren stared into the black of space, eyes bloodshot, jaw clenched. Princess Alira lay in the medbay, pale but alive. Her presence on board changed everything. She wasn't just a missing royal. She was the last witness to a lie so big, it could shake the entire galaxy. Jack walked into the control room of the Iron Truth, his mind heavy with what she had said. Lord Tyros, head of the High Council, he's not human anymore. Not human? What did that even mean? He looked at the cracked beacon from the royal ship. Its last transmission looped quietly in the background. But there was something in it now. Something Jack hadn't noticed before. A whisper. He isolated the sound, boosted it, and played it. Project Hollow Crown. Begun. Mira, the ship's AI, responded. Jack, that term has no record in any public archive. Try the black files, Jack said. Military level, deep war logs. There was silence for a moment. Then Mira said something that made the blood freeze in Jack's veins. Project Hollow Crown, classified Imperial operation. Purpose, create artificial royal heirs embedded with neural data, designed to rule without question, and never rebel. Jack whispered. They were building fake rulers. Mira continued. Documents suggest that real heirs were disposed of. Jack turned toward the medbay window, staring at Alira. So that's why they wanted her dead. She's real. Ours. Past. Alira finally opened her eyes again. Weak, but awake. Jack sat beside her. How long have you known? He asked. She didn't answer at first. Her eyes stayed on the ceiling. Since I was 9, she said. They said I was born for peace, but I was trained like a weapon. Jack leaned forward. The project, Hollow Crown. What was it really? Alira turned her head. A way to erase free will. They didn't want rulers, they wanted puppets. When my father died, they told me I'd be next, but not me. The version of me they created. The one they could program. Control. Jack stood. Anger burned in his chest, but you ran, she nodded. With help. From inside the palace. My old guard, Captain Rylos, smuggled me onto the Seraph Queen. We thought we could disappear. Jack's voice lowered. But someone gave you up. They always knew, she said. They were watching from the start. A beeping alert echoed through the ship. Jack walked to the cockpit. On the screen, something massive. Mira, report. The AI sounded disturbed. Jack, there's a field of derelict ships ahead. Hundreds. All dead. No heat, no power. He magnified the view. Dozens of warships floated in silence. Galactic, alien, pirate, even royal designs, all drifting. No signs of battle damage. Just stopped. This graveyard is not natural, Mira said. Jack moved the ship slowly through the floating metal corpses. They passed a massive dreadnought with open airlocks. A royal command cruiser turned upside down. An alien blade ship split cleanly in half. But the strangest wonder was human, a ship marked as Horizon Echo. It had vanished 10 years ago. Jack, Alira's voice came from behind. I know this place. He turned. You've been here? She nodded. This is where they tested the project. The ships here were all lured in, crews taken, minds altered. Jack stared at her. You mean brainwashing? Worse, she said. Memory replacement, identity erasure. They turned soldiers into actors, leaders into statues. And when the test failed, they dumped them all here. Jack clenched his fists. Monsters. No, she said. Men who thought control was better than truth. Suddenly, iron truth jolted. Lights flickered. Systems dropped to half power. Jack, Mira said, we're being scanned. Energy spike rising. Origin, center of the graveyard. On the screen, one ship lit up. Not dead, not broken, awake. That's not possible, Jack said. The ship was ancient, pre-imperial. It should have turned to dust. But its engines glowed with a blue fire. It's him, Alira whispered. Tyros. A transmission played across their system. Forced in, a deep, calm voice. You've come far, Jack Wren. Farther than I expected. Jack didn't answer. Return, the girl. And you'll be forgiven. Jack leaned into the mic. I don't need forgiveness from a dead man playing God. There was silence. Then the voice replied, Then you'll die with the ghosts. All around, the silent ships began to move. Engines ignited, weapons powered up. Jack stared in horror. They weren't dead, he whispered. They were sleeping. Mira spoke fast. Jack, we're surrounded. 37 ships. Target lock engaged. He looked back at Alira. Strap in. What are we going to do? She asked. Jack smirked, pain in his eyes. We're going to show them what a real human can do. He grabbed the flight controls. Engines roared. Iron Truth turned toward the oncoming storm. One ship against a fleet of ghosts. One man versus a war. Fleet space had never felt so small. Jack Wren sat in the cockpit of the Iron Truth, surrounded on all sides by machines of war. 37 warships, old, deadly, and reborn from silence. They floated like shadows, their weapons glowing. Once dead, now puppets. And in the center of them all, Tyros, the man who wasn't a man anymore. His ship was different, ancient. It didn't fly, it floated as if space itself made room for it. Black metal, silver veins, no windows, no name, and a voice inside Jack's mind. You don't have to die, Jack. Hand her over. Return to the fold. Jack ignored it. His hands flew over controls. Mira, how many ships can we outrun? None, the AI replied. Their drive systems are linked. They move as one. How many can we destroy? Mira paused. Realistically? 1. Maybe 2. Jack exhaled. Then let's make them count. Behind him, Princess Alira entered the cockpit. She had changed out of the royal blue and wore black now, pilot gear. You don't have to do this alone, she said. He looked at her. Yes, I do. You need to live. The galaxy needs truth. I'm just the delivery system. Jack, he cut her off. Mira, prep the escape pod. Set destination, Delta Sector, Rebel Zone, cloak it, scramble its signature. Alira stepped forward. No, we fight together. Alira, Jack said, his voice steady. If I die, the story still survives. If you die, it ends. She stared at him, then nodded. 5 minutes later, the escape pod launched, silent and invisible. disappearing into the field of drifting wrecks. The Iron Truth turned back toward the enemy. Jack cracked his knuckles. All right, 1 ship against 37. Let's be loud. He fired the engines at full power. The closest ship opened fire. Jack dodged, barely. Red beams cut past the hull. The shield flared. Inside, sparks flew. He rolled under the second cruiser, dropped 2 plasma charges, and boosted away. Boom. The old ship burst into a cloud of fire and wreckage. 1 down, Jack said through gritted teeth. The others closed in. Missiles locked. On Mira, deploy counterjammers. Reroute power to engines, full thrust. You'll burn the core. It was never meant to last. The Iron Truth darted between enemy ships like a wasp in a thunderstorm. It was smaller, faster. Jack remembered. Every trick from his military days. He cut engines mid-spin, flipped backward, fired railguns at point blank, boom, 2. But damage spread across the dashboard. Warning light screamed. Pressure dropped in deck 2. Mira, emergency seal level 2. Done. Missiles struck the rear. Shields broke. Smoke filled the cabin. Jack didn't stop. He activated the drift pulse, a move outlawed by every navy. The ship's gravity coils released for 1 second, just enough to turn the Iron Truth into a slingshot. He looped around a battleship, making it take fire from its own allies. A 3rd ship exploded. 3. But he was hit again. Hull breach, reactor damage. He had minutes left. Then the transmission came through again. Not a voice, a face. Tyros, or what was left of him. His skin was pale, smooth like plastic, no emotion. Eyes black, cold. You waste yourself, Jack. You fight for dying ideas. I fight for truth. Truth? Tyros smiled. Truth is what we create. You are a glitch, a relic. Your species will be rewritten. Jack laughed, bloody and wild. Then let this relic teach you how humans die. He activated the last core inside the ship. The overdrive pulse bomb. Mira's voice broke in. Jack, this will destroy everything in a 2-kilometer radius, including you. I know, he said. Make sure they see it coming. Jack sent one last command. He opened every channel, every frequency, and broadcast the full story. Elira's message. The beacon. The truth about Project Hollow Crown. The lies of the High Council. The fleet of sleepers. All of it. To every colony, every rebel cell, every ship in range. This is Jack Wren. His voice rang out across the stars. They built a false empire. They tried to erase a future, but we are not machines. We are not pawns. We are human. He locked eyes with Tyros on the screen. And, I'd rather burn than bow. He smiled and hit the button. The Iron Truth exploded like a dying star. White light, energy pulse, electromagnetic shock. 6 enemy ships disintegrated instantly. Others were left dead, floating. The central control ship, the one Tyros stood upon, was cracked open, half of it torn apart. No more signal, no more lies, just silence. Days later, on a small rebel station near Delta Sector, a pod was found. Inside, Princess Elira, injured, quiet, alive. She stepped onto the deck, stood before the rebel commanders, and spoke 4 words. I carry the truth. Behind her, screens showed Jack's final message playing on loop. People watched, listened, and believed. A war was coming. But now they had a name to rally behind. Jack Wren, the man who gave everything. A human's worth space remembers, long after the stars burn out, long after the machines fall silent. Stories echo, and in every corner of the galaxy, people now speak one name. Jack Wren, the human who stood alone, the pilot who fought a fleet, the man who gave everything. But this story wasn't over, not yet. Weeks passed since the explosion in the Crimson Graveyard. The Empire was quiet. Too quiet. But silence, Jack once said, is where the loudest things begin. In the Rebel Zone, inside an underground base on Delta Moon 3, Princess Elira stood, before a wall-sized screen. Her face was tired, scarred, but her eyes burned with purpose. Behind her stood commanders, smugglers, scientists, broken ex-soldiers, all listening. She pressed a button. The room filled with Jack's final broadcast. Again, we are not machines. We are not pawns, we are human. His voice, his fire. Some wept. Others clenched fists. She turned to them. Jack bought us time. With his life. Now we use it. A general stepped forward. We still don't know if Tyros survived. He did, Clara said. I can feel it. They all looked at her. How? She looked down at her hand. At the metal implant buried in her wrist, glowing faintly. He marked me before I escaped. A living tracker. He wants me alive long enough to break. A silence spread. Then what do we do? Someone asked. She looked at them. We stopped running. They moved fast. Rebel engineers built a plan. Take a stolen Imperial carrier, fill it with false signal data, and let Tyros find them. He wants to finish the job, Alira said. We'll give him the chance. You're using yourself as bait, one rebel commander said. She smiled. It's what Jack would do. The trap was set. In the dark void of space, the fake carrier drifted, wounded, and leaking a soft beacon, a message repeating over and over. Alira on board, injured, requesting mercy vessel. They waited. Hours passed. Nothing. Then, a shape appeared. Not a ship. A shadow. Tyros had come. His vessel was larger than before, rebuilt, angrier. Its body, now fused with alien tech, red circuits pulsing across black steel. He spoke through every screen in the rebel bridge. I let you live once. A mistake I won't repeat. Alira stood tall. You tried to kill truth, but truth doesn't die. It multiplies. Tyros tilted his head. Brave words. But you are not him. She stepped forward. No, I'm not. But I remember him. A beat of silence. And you should too. She pressed a final command. Across the fleet, hundreds of rebel ships came out of cloak, surrounding Tyros. Jack's message had spread. It had awakened people. From deep mining moons, from forgotten outposts, from old fleets that had turned, their backs on the Empire. They had all come. The battle began. Space burned. Fighters swarmed around Tyros' ship. His weapons tore through dozens, but they kept coming. One rebel cruiser was piloted by 3 teenagers who grew up hearing Jack's name whispered like a myth. Another was crewed by ex-royal engineers who'd seen the Hollow Crown project up close, and escaped. They fought with everything. But Tyros was evolving. His voice echoed through ships trying to break minds. You are dust. You are flawed. Emotion makes you weak. Then a voice broke through. Jack's voice. From a backup memory. From Iron Truth's black box. You think we're weak? You think machines make better rulers? Try doing what we do. Try being human. Alira heard it and smiled. Play it on all channels. Every ship heard Jack. Every rebel. Every soul. They pushed harder. One rebel ship flew straight into Tyros's side and detonated. Another hacked into his engine core and disabled his jump system. Then at last, Alira's own ship reached the front. Face to face. Tyros appeared on her screen. Half machine. Half something else. You were supposed to be erased, he said. Then, someone forgot to press the right button, she replied. She activated her ship's final weapon, a gravity core ripper, designed by stolen Imperial tech, the kind of weapon that only activates with a real human's heartbeat. She placed her hand on the sensor. It lit up. Jack's heartbeat had once saved her. Now hers would end this. She stared into Tyros's eyes. This is for Jack. Flash. White. Light. Implosion. Silence. When the smoke cleared, Tyros was gone and the stars were free. Weeks later, Alira stood before a crowd on a green planet, a planet the Empire once ruled with fear. Now, flags of unity waved. Humans, aliens, hybrids stood together. She raised a small metal item. Jack's old flight badge. Burned. Cracked. But whole. He was one man. Just a pilot. But he changed everything. She looked up. This galaxy belongs to those who remember what it means to care, to fight, to hope. She smiled, and Jack Wren reminded us what a human is worth. Crowd erupted. Above them, fireworks lit the sky. In the stars, the name lived on. Jack Wren, the brave pilot. The first spark of the second dawn, the end.